confirmed transfer on Monday, Peter. About 20 million euros was the reported fee from Sporting, and a really exciting signing. When the rumours of this one came through, I think a lot of us thought, okay, but that's a long shot. He's a very talented player. But there was a battle with Wolves. It seems that Fulham came out on top. It doesn't seem that Fulham came out on top. Fulham did come out on top in that battle to secure his services. And a midfield enforcer. Not the centre-back that lots of people want, but I think he'll be absolutely crucial to us next season, particularly with the departure of Seri.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this will be a really key piece in the Fulham jigsaw. Quite clearly a key target for Fulham and for Marco Silva as well. And a player who is probably a little bit different to the majority of Premier League players who've come over to the Premier League. You know, he's far more defensively minded. And we've seen the players that tend to succeed. They tend to be those technical players, don't they, that have done well. That said, you've got Ruben Diaz and Joao Cancelo. I'm sure Jack may touch on that a little bit more. But from what I've been hearing and from those I've been speaking to about Palhinha, this is quite clearly almost a bit of a coup, I think, for Fulham, because considering, I know that last season probably he didn't quite hit the same heights, even then still an important part of Ruben Amorim's Sporting team. Heading into the delayed Euros last summer, he was fantastic. You know, he was a linchpin in that Sporting team, pushed himself into the national side, adapted seamlessly. A really solid player, a defensive midfielder who is aggressive, can win the ball back, and has also really improved on his ball distribution, switching the play. It's something he does very often and very effectively for his former club. So I think he ticks a lot of boxes. I think he fits straight into Silva's system. I think adaptation, of course, will be the interesting thing, because it always is with any new recruit, but he's been playing in a 3-4-3 for 2 seasons, playing in a 2 in midfield. And you do wonder whether Silva may pivot towards having him alongside Reed. And the 2 different profiles of defensive midfielders there that seem to complement each other quite well. So, look, it's the kind of player you need. Fulham need to be solid in midfield. They won't have the same time on the ball that they had last year. They need someone who can break up the play, can help launch counterattacks. And, Palhinha seems to be that. So to get him to pit Wolves to the mark, which they did, to get him for about £17 million, it's a hefty sum. It's going to be one of the bigger transfers this summer. But it looks like a good one. Obviously, time will tell if that turns out to be the case, but certainly bodes well.
Jack, you must be delighted to have another Portugueser in SW6.
Yeah, absolutely over the moon. I mean, look, mostly I'm absolutely over the moon because I think this is the profile that Fulham have been crying out for. And actually, you know, we have talked a lot about centre-backs and we do need a centre-back. No one's denying that, probably too. But you're looking at this and thinking, right, how do you get the best out of your centre-backs? How do teams protect their centre-backs? They put in a player who has the right profile in front of them in order to be able to give them that shield and that protection you need. And you only need to look at someone like Manchester United, right, to look at how centre-backs can be exposed and made to look far worse than they are by not having the shield, the requisite shield in front of them to be able to play the way that they want to play. Now, I think Palhinha gives Fulham this player. It gives a player who is happy to sit, who is going to be able to kind of patrol that midfield area and make sure that counterattacks aren't slicing through us like they did the last time we were in the Premier League, or at least the first time of late we returned to the Premier League, where Fulham were torn apart at times. I think, you know, you look at Parker's Fulham, and the reason that there was so little attacking flair partly was due to the fact that the personnel in the middle wasn't able to give you that base to build from, and therefore you can only leave a couple of players in the attacking third in order to try and make things happen. Now, obviously that frustrated people. It frustrated me. I'm not suggesting that's the only reason, but part of it is, okay, why do we think that they went 5 at the back? Why do we think that Fulham had so many players behind the ball all the time? Partly because Parker is a conservative manager, sure, but partly also because the profiles of bodies in the midfield weren't there to be able to produce that kind of stopper in the middle. And look, I think what's brilliant about Palhinha is not only is he aerially dominant, not only is he physically dominant, not only is he a ball-winning machine in the centre of the park. Obviously, the adaptation period is important here, and that's what he was for Sporting and what he would be for, you know, what he has been for the Portugal Seleção as well. But equally, when you're looking at this, you're looking at a player who provides all of those qualities, the qualities that someone like Kevin McDonald, right, provided for Fulham, but not in the Premier League, really. We're looking at, a gap that Fulham have had for a long, long time here, where they didn't have a proper enforcer, a proper number 6 who was going to sit in front of the midfield. And I know some people like Harrison Reed in there, but I've said this from the kind of start, that don't see Harrison Reed as a lone 6, especially not in the Premier League, where there is so much on physicality and aerial dominance in that area. You want him to be able to buzz around and destroy at will, be able to kind of leave his mark and push forwards in order to win the ball in important areas, because that's what Harrison Reed is best at. He is a destructive little dynamo in there, and he's able to get around and make those things happen. I think Palhinha will give him the base in order to bounce off that and be able to do the things he's best at. And this is what I mean about, providing that shield for the defence. Yes, Fulham need to get centre-backs in, but giving them something in front of them that's going to protect whoever's in that zone anyway, I think is almost as important, maybe more important.